Despite herself, she's drawn to his dark, brooding charm. Girl, we know, well, no, we don't know why. We know who. I know who. You don't know who because I'm reading this, so I know who. You don't know who. But somebody. But you know what. You don't know what. You know, you don't need to know. Hello. Today's video is going to be a little bit unusual. You know, I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I'm pretty sure that I've never done a haul on this channel before. Usually I read books on the Kindle app on my phone these days. Every once in a while I'll buy a book, particularly if the Kindle version isn't available. But recently I had a bit of a splurge and and I purchased quite a few physical books, way more than I have in quite a long time. So the catalyst for this unusual activity is that I discovered that there is a bookstore near me called Blackheart Books. It's called Blackheart Books, and this is a real heavy bag, and it's not even the only bag that I got. So what makes this bookstore special? Well, I saw that they sold Splatterpunk and extreme horror books. And so of course I found that really exciting. The bookstore Blackheart Books is located in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. So if you live in Wisconsin or you're willing to travel, that's where you'd wanna That's where it's located. It's not a particularly large bookstore, but it is completely horror themed. And so they have extreme horror and splatterpunk. They have more standard horror. They have dark romance. They have quite a variety within the horror genre. It might be more common than I realized, but I just never in a million years did I think I'd ever be able to walk into an actual bookstore and browse, foray extreme horror books. I was just really excited for the opportunity to do that and to also just, you know, support a local bookstore. Yeah, it's probably not going to be super regular content because, you know, I'm a lady on a budget, but you know, every once in a while, I might just be a little bit indulgent. Let's just go ahead and get started. And then just so you know, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you some books that are going to be a bit of a spoiler for what the next video is going to be. Okay, so let's start off with something that if you've been around for a hot minute, you're probably not surprised to see, and that is The Bug Collector by Ralph James White. I'm a pretty big fan of Ralph James White. So on the back of the book, it just says that our main character, Joey, has a fetish for something that is basically ruining his life. It does not specifically say what the fetish is, but I think if you put together, there's a man who has a sexual fetish that is ruining his life, and it's gross and disturbing in nature. And the book is called The Bug Collector. You know, you could go one or two ways. Either this has something inappropriate with actual literal little critters, creepy crawlies and whatnot, or we're talking about like STDs, that type of thing. And I'm gonna guess that it's the second one, but it could be the first. I mean, with Ralph James White, you never know. It, like I said, it doesn't say what exactly the paraphilia is. Just that it's unique, it's ruined his health, his looks, and it's threatening his life. So yeah, threatening his, I'm guessing we're talking about STDs, and that if he's the collector, that he's collecting them. Like maybe he's trying to get a whole bunch of different kinds or something. I don't know. That's just a guess. But he's got some kind of fetish that's ruining his life, and it's gonna be gross. And some of these books I do have specific plans for. Some of them I do not. So this one I don't have a specific plan for, but it's relatively short, so I'm sure I'll get to it sooner rather than later. I'm not sure if this is extreme or just horror, but I've seen this around, and that is The Lamb by Lucy Rose. It's a pretty simple cover, but I feel like it's very eye-catching, no? It's about a mother and daughter who live in the woods, and sometimes people will stray into the woods, and I don't know if they get lost or they're just curious, so they end up knocking on their door. Mama really likes it when they do that. I don't think, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that she's not just excited for some pleasant company and a quick chit chat. It doesn't say why Mama likes it when the strays come to visit, but I'm gonna guess that it is perhaps nefarious in nature. Oh no, it does say that she satisfies her burning appetite by picking apart their bodies. Okay, so maybe this is sort of like Hansel and Gretel, but adults? Maybe? And I'll tell you, when I was a kid, I did love that movie. I know there's more than one, and I don't know how to differentiate, but there was one that I did love and I did watch a lot. So that's exciting. I missed that part the first time I read through this. It describes it as a gothic coming of age tale. It seems like it has a lot going for it, and if it is anything like Hansel and Gretel, I'll be pretty content with that, I think. Add that to the pile. This is Einhallow by Tim McGregor. I immediately was interested in this because when I flipped it on over to look at the back, the first thing it says is Orkney Islands, which I've never been, but I read a different book called Orkney. I don't remember who wrote that. Ooh, that's the same. What's right here? Oh! It was here the entire time. This is not a horror book, but I just really liked it. The way she described those islands, I was just so enamored, and I always thought that if I ever won the lottery and I could vacation anywhere in the world, I would go to the Orkney Islands. It just seems like a really cool location. So when I just saw that that's where it was located, I got really excited. But there is a plot. It's not just about where it is. So this is way back in 1797. Okay, so there's a lady named Agnes living on the Orkney Islands. She's feeling a little bit disgruntled by the stresses of life, and so it is very exciting when this stranger comes to the island to rent a cabin or a cottage or whatever. And he's like super charming, and she's just like, hey there, you know? Like she's just, it's a little bit of excitement in her day, and she might be perhaps just like a little bit too charmed by this gentleman. But here's the kicker, is that this isn't just some dude. This is Sir Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, and he's there to do the weird shit what he gets into, and that's what he's there to do. This is the man who has piqued her interest, despite the fact that she is a married lady with 4 children. So this seems like it might have some drama, some like love triangle drama type stuff. I would like some heartbreak and some despair. I think some gore, like maybe his monster comes to life and like rips her arm off or something. You know how sometimes the back of books will have little snippets of reviews? I mean, people are describing it as haunting and spine tingling. I'm hoping that this is going to give me some like kind of eerie vibes, you know? This would probably be a good one for Halloween. Ooh. Next up is one that I have seen around so much, talking about Negative Space by B.R. Yeager. Yeager? I feel like if it was Yeager, then maybe the A and the E would be switched, right? You know what I hate? I hate when you purchase a book. I don't mind when there's little snippets of reviews on the back, like there was with the last one. What I don't like is when there's only reviews on the back of the book, and it's not like a hardcover that has it in the sleeve. Like there's just no summary of what the book is, and I don't like that. There's something amiss in Kinsfield, a drab, boring city, much like your own. Why am I getting roasted here? 4 teens in a New Hampshire mill town abuse a bizarre hallucinogen called whirl in order to cope with a devastating epidemic. There seems to be some sort of epidemic with the teenagers not wanting to be here anymore and taking that into their own hands. And the teens that are left behind are coping with this by becoming absorbed in drug use, specifically hallucinogens. So this is based off a true story. You know, I can't say for sure, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this sounds like it's going to be very interesting, but I fear this is going to be depressing. I have to make sure I'm in the right state of mind. I think when I read this one seems like it's going to be kind of heavy. Let's get into some more familiar names. Handyman by Aron Beauregard. So Vinnie Fowler works in construction. Everything seems to be going well for him in his career, with his family. He's on the verge of having the life he's always wanted. So he's right on the precipice. But he's got a past. And we don't know what the past is, but he's got one. He gets some sort of job. So apparently something on this job ain't quite right. And so that will bring up some of his past to the present. Look, it's Aron Beauregard, okay? So I'm expecting this to be bloody and gory and gross. It's called The Handyman, and this is the cover. So I'm expecting a lot of gore being done with tools like hammers and saws and other things that a handyman would have. That is what I'm expecting. Over 350 pages, so it's a pretty thick boy. I don't have a specific plan for it, but I was like, well, I don't really own very many physical copies of Aron Beauregard. And again, I just saw Aron Beauregard in a bookstore and I got so excited. If you have a bookstore near you that sells books like these, share that with me. That would be so exciting to know that I was just under the false impression that this would be harder to come by in person. Okay, in the same vein, we have Runts by Daniel J. Volpe. From the books I've read from him, some of them had more gore than others, but they've all had the gross thing down pat. So, you know, I'm kind of expecting this to be gross. This looks like a hillbilly family that ain't quite right. You got these 4 people who are trying to get home, but there is some sort of blizzard. And because the roads have gotten bad due to the storm, they have had to go to this town called Braxton that they didn't initially plan to go to. And that's where these people are. Yeah, so these people are not going to be friendly to the people who had to stop in their town. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre type vibes. Things outside of your control forcing you to stop your vehicle and go to a place you wouldn't normally go to get help. And the people, they don't want to help you. This one, I will admit, was perhaps a bit of an impulse purchase, in the sense that I may have gotten a little bit swept up in the moment. Not that I regret it, but, well, okay, let's just... Offspring by Jack Ketchum. It's the sequel to Off Season, which I reviewed in my cannibal video, The Most Nefarious of Nibbles. Now, the reason why I wouldn't normally purchase this is because when I read Off Season, I read it on the Kindle app. So I wouldn't normally purchase a sequel to a book as a physical copy if I didn't have the original as a physical copy as well. Like, it's a little weird to just have the sequel, but that's what I did. I think I was just so excited to be in a bookstore and buying books, and I think I just kind of I got a little wrapped up in the moment. I am excited to read it. It's not that I regret the purchase. It's just weird that I don't own the first one, but I can always remedy that. You have to know the plot of Off Season. People keep going missing when they're trying to pass through this town. And you come to find that there's this weird, random little tribe of cannibal people who are like hiding in the cliffs. And when they see people who aren't from the town, but they're passing through the town, they, get them. So it's kind of like the police trying to track down these people from the tribe trying to get their next victims. So you have like the victims and the tribe people and the police, and it's kind of different perspectives. So the sequel, minor spoiler, is that the sheriff at the end of the first one thought that he had won. Whoopsie, they did not. And the story continues. I liked the first one. It's Jack Ketchum. I didn't like Off Season as much as I liked The Girl Next Door. It's not on that level to me, but I enjoyed it. And so I am looking forward to reading this at some point. I just wish I just have to buy the other one, I guess, at some point. But it's kind of hard to motivate myself to do that when I already read it, it's just... That's what I'm saying. I don't regret buying it because I want to read it. It's just, you understand. I've decided. You understand what I'm saying. The next two books are going to be familiar names that you, if you're not new here, then you know that I am going to be particularly excited about. So this next one is not a new book. It's just new to me. And that is Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. I read Mary and Nestlings and When the Wolf Comes Home. I don't think it's Cries. When the Wolf Comes Home, I think is what it's called. It doesn't matter. I read it already. And the point is that he's been 3 for 3. Mary has still been my favorite, but I have always enjoyed the books that I've read from him. He is an author that I anticipate that every time he has a new release that I will want to read it. But this is an older one that I just haven't read yet. Imagine having the description of the book in the book or on the book somewhere. Can you imagine? I didn't even care what it was. I'm going to be real with you. I didn't even look at the description. I just saw that it was Nat Cassidy, and that was enough for me. So we are discovering this together. What it's about. A young musician finds himself locked inside a gas station bathroom in the middle of the night by an unseen assailant, caught between the horrors on the other side of the door and the horrors rapidly skittering down the walls inside. Okay. Something weird's afoot. But I don't even care. It's Nat Cassidy. He's proven himself to me already. It wouldn't have mattered what the description was. I saw Nat Cassidy and I haven't read it. I would have purchased it. Okay, and another one that I'm very excited about, which will be in a specific video that's, I don't know when, but in the future a bit. But I've talked about wanting to do an author focus on this author at some point, and now I am one step closer. The Cannibals of Candyland by Carlton Mellick III. Carlton Mellick III is the Bizarro guy. Bizarro is exactly what it sounds like. It's bizarre, weird, surreal shit. And I'm all about it. I'm a big fan of the genre, even though I have not read that much of it yet. I already know that I'm down. I'm with it. I'm here for it. And I would like to read more. I need to read more before the end of the year, for sure. I can't tell you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to read this. And to see this Bizarro book at a bookstore. I was so excited to purchase this. Oh my goodness. So the plot. It turns out that there is a race of cannibals that are made out of candy. And they live underground, and during the day when adults go off to work or whatever, they come out from underground and they get your kids, because they eat kids and that's when they get them. They lure the children with their sweet candiness. When he was a child, Franklin Pierce witnessed the death of his siblings at the hand of a candy woman with a pink cotton candy hair. And so he witnessed that. And so as an adult, he's trying to find their candy lair so he can put a stop to this nonsense. I am very excited to read this complete and utter nonsense. I want to read, because the one story that I read about Carlton, there was a man with a lollipop head, and he was, I don't remember what the story was called, but he had a lollipop head and everybody kept licking his head. I'm seeing a theme here. I don't know when, but I want to so soon. There's so many things I want to read, and there's only 24 hours in a day and I'm an adult with a job. Okay, now this last one, before we get to the spoiler section of the video, I saw the cover of this and I was quite taken by it. So this is called Root Rot by Saskia Nislow. So if you look at the cover, it's a very cool cover. I like it a lot. It says 9 children travel with their families to the grandfather's vacation property. But then strange things begin to happen. Eyes blink from the bottom up. Mushrooms ooze blood. People's faces don't hang right anymore, except they do. Okay, there's more. I thought that was the end of the sentence. Okay, let's try that again. People's faces don't hang right anymore, except they do once you look more closely. Transformations warp the children's sense of time and place, the very land itself seeming to encroach upon them. Yeah, okay, so basically they go to this house and weird shit starts to happen. So this seems like the type of story where there's a lot of weird shit going on, but it's meant to be very symbolic of bigger things. Like it says here, Root Rot explores predatory family dynamics, the boundaries of bodies and home, and how individuals choose to participate in or push back against structures that would harm them. This appears to be a book where there is a lot of commentary on bigger subjects, and I love that shit. Gorgeous cover, cool concept, I'm on board. Okay, so we have quite a few books left. But we're getting into the section of the video that is a bit of a spoiler for what my next video is going to be. So if you don't want to know, now's your chance to avert your eyes, to click off for now, come back next time, all that jazz. Before I reveal these books, I need to specify that while these books are going to give you a very clear indication of what the next video is going to be, that does not mean that all of these books will necessarily be included in that video. And also, there are other books that will not be seen here that will be included in that video. So this is not an all-encompassing spoiler for every book that's going to be discussed. Some of them I just wanted. Okay, so the first one, I'm sure that if you are not new to the genre of extreme horror or splatterpunk, that even if you haven't read this, you've heard of this. And I am well overdue to read it. Gone to See the Riverman by Kristopher Triana. When I say that I'm overdue to read it, I mean that I have in fact already read it. And I don't know if you can tell, but I don't know if you can see from there. I got kind of carried away with highlighting and didn't get very far into it before I decided to start annotating. Very popular, well-known book in the genre that I have been meaning to read for a hot minute, and the time finally came when I saw this bad boy. Now, what is this about? Gone to See the Riverman is about this woman named Lori. And Lori is one of those women who is pen paling with a serial killer in prison, a man named Edmund. And Edmund gives her this assignment that she needs to go get this key out of this cabin that he had that the police never found. He's like, you go get this key and you give it to the Riverman. And she's like, who's that? And he's like, don't worry about it. Just, he's down the river. So go get this key and you bring that to him. And she's like, yeah, okay. And so with that, Very simple premise. When Lori does go, she decides to bring her sister with her that she takes care of. It turns into a surreal nightmare as she is trying to bring this key and figure out why Edmund gave her this assignment in the first place. I'm not going to give spoilers right now. Stop asking. I'm not going to do it. Very happy with my purchase is what I'll say, I guess. Now, to go along with that, that book has a sequel, which is Along the River of Flesh. So this book is basically a different character. You know, in that book, we're following Lori. In this, we are following a different character who has their own reasons for going to see the Riverman. And that there is somebody, like a detective, following this person when they go. And, you know, who knows what goes on? I don't know yet. I didn't read this one yet. But if it's anything like the last one, I'm assuming that we are going to have another real trippy, surreal, crazy experience. If this aligns with the first book, then presumably these characters are going to have their own baggage that is going to affect this journey to the Riverman in different ways, I would imagine, for each of them. I have to find out what and how and why. Okay, the next one is I Don't Recognize This World Anymore by Kristopher Triana. This is a book that even if I wasn't seeing this name or anything like that, I probably would have picked this up just from the cover. I really like covers that have simple art like this, but it's still interesting and evocative. This is about a man named Liam who is a corrections officer working in a women's prison. It seems as though he gets a little swept up in not being on the up and up, and he starts engaging in some under the table activities with some of the inmates. And it seems as though as he is doing that, the chaos within the prison is growing exponentially and he feels like he's losing control of the situation. This was written this year, so this is a relatively new one from Mr. Triana. Okay, now this is one that I had heard of before, but I didn't know what it was about. Toxic Love by Kristopher Triana. Toxic Love is a darkly comedic and erotic nightmare from Splatterpunk award-winning author. Throughout this tale of perversion, gore, and necrophilia, Triana pens powerful characters who will move you just as deeply as they repulse you. Okay, love that for me. So we got a dude who works as a crime scene cleanup guy. He has a co-worker who is toxic. Do you see what they did there? Toxic. So, you know, I fear, you know, when you hear crime scene cleanup crew and darkly comedic and erotic nightmare, I feel like there's so many places we could go with that, but also really only one. They're just gonna roll around in it and get freaky, aren't they? That's, I fear. Okay, and last, and probably not least, but I haven't read it, so I don't know yet, but like probably not, is Blackheart by Kristopher Triana. Now, I had never heard of this. This was an impulse purchase, just because I hadn't heard of it, but I thought it sounded good. His expertise is bringing the appearance of life back to the dead for their wakes. But when his ex-lovers start arriving in body bags, Harold believes he's receiving a message to create a new masterpiece. That kind of sounds like May, if you've ever seen that movie. I don't know if you can see all of them. I hope so. Shout out to Blackheart Books. And yeah, so it is admittedly quite a splurge for me to do this though. So this is definitely not going to become like a channel filled with hauls. This will be a rare occurrence. But if you do see one, there's a good chance you're going to know where it's from. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And maybe I'll see you the next time around. Bye! Because I don't remember off the top of my head. You'll forgive. You will forgive me. I'm not asking.